There's a growing sentiment, of course, across the West that there is no political solution, which I'm happy to see that coming forth. But we've been covering on the show the insane number of riots in the UK, and it seems like even digital IDs in effect would not stop this organic movement towards violent reform. And I don't think that they're going to be successful in stopping it. Do you think that the British people have had enough?
Well, when you say the insane number of riots, what do you mean?
Well, okay, I mean, I suppose we're not on the ground, so we're just seeing it on Twitter.
See, this is the thing, though, right? This is the thing, and it's one of the strangest things, because if you're an American right winger, all you ever see of Britain is the shit that goes on your timeline, right?
Yes.
So in your mind, I'm literally living in a caliphate. Okay, there's just like literally, I walk down the street and there are rapes going on, you know. And
is that not happening? Is that what you're saying?
It's just like anything. It's just like if I came to America and spent all day filming in, like, you know, inner city Chicago, and then presented that as the entire country.
Right. Of course, yeah.
Like, it's kind of right. So, but the idea that there's been continuous riots is not really true. What Southport was, okay, the Southport riots, which was the one that hit all the headlines, is that you know, there was this terrible murder, the terrible set of murders by this young man who was from a Rwandan background.
Yes.
And the locals, you know, I mean, they call it a riot. A few people kicked over a few bins and things. And what the British state did, what Starmer did, is he kind of like begged it up into being more than it was, and quickly put all these people in jail, right? In like, they had these expedited, sped up trials, and put like 100 people in jail really quickly. And then he gave this speech and he called all these people far right and things like that. Then what happened is that some people on Twitter said, well, we're going to have more of these protests / riot things. Funnily, it was Douglas Murray, Katie Hopkins, who were, you know, Katie Hopkins was kind of unbanned mysteriously a couple of weeks beforehand. Tommy, who came back to X as well. But I remember distinctly Katie Hopkins and Douglas Murray, they released all these dates, right? They released all these dates. And again, I was on Twitter saying, yeah, guys, this is obviously like some sort of this is obviously some sort of trap. Don't go to this, right? Because this is a setup. You can just smell it a mile off, okay? When they're when internationally renowned figures, journalists and so on, are sharing dates, something's up. And what ended up happening is that the kind of astroturfed stand for racism kind of pussy march crowd, you know, the anti-racist crowd, who obviously just paid by the state, turned up to these. Nobody actually turned up to them, apart from like a couple of handful of idiots, right? And so they were outnumbered. The racists were outnumbered by the anti-racists. And then every single newspaper on the same day, and I don't know if you'll be able to find this, right? But it's amazing. Every single newspaper that day, right wing, left wing, middle, whatever, they all ran the exact same headline saying anti-racism was won, right? Showing these kind of astroturf counter-protesters. So that was just obviously the security state, the intelligence services, MI5 kicking in and running this narrative, right, in that moment. See, the thing is, that happened, and then everybody forgot that happened. This is what winds me up. People just forget, like, stuff that happened a couple of weeks ago. That only happened last year. I lived through it in real time. And so fast forward to now, and I mean, have there really been any more riots? There was a protest outside some migrant hotels a couple of weeks back where things started to kick off. People have been putting up flags. And then there was this Tommy rally, which wasn't a riot. It was a huge rally in London, free speech march. I think police said 150,000 people went, which is big. A lot of people said there were more people there, 500,000, up to 1 million, some people claimed. but that was not a riot. That was just a kind of rally. And I mean, as I said, the energy builds up to that something like that, and then it dissipates, and then it doesn't go anywhere.
Do
And now
you find hope in the remigration movement?
Say that again, sorry?
Do you have hope in the remigration movement?
So when you say movement, what do you mean? Like people who want remigration to be a thing?
Martin Sellner is kind of the front man in Austria. They've been doing a lot of work in Austria, Germany, France to remigrate immigrants to their country.
I mean, the thing is, the kind of the various rights of these different countries don't really have much contact, if that makes any sense. So I'm aware. I think I spoke to him once, Selner, and you know, I've come across him, but it's like what they're doing doesn't really marry up to what's happening. What's happening here is very much bound up with kind of national level, local politics. So it's like, yeah, I guess again, you guys sitting in America, you think, oh well, over in Europe, but you have to remember, like, these are all different countries. Britain, France, Germany, they don't really have much crossover.
I was under the impression that these movements in Europe were somewhat united and coordinated. This is untrue. I know Martin works closely with people from Poland, people from Germany, France.
Yeah, I mean, there may be on the continent. There may be some coordination between some of those, you know, Austrians and Germans, say, or something like that. But the British scene, as far as I understand it, doesn't have that much crossover. And if I'm honest, the biggest crossover between any of the different groups is the Zionist network that backs populism in every country. That's the biggest crossover. So, you know, like the same people who back Tommy, you know, maybe there's one up in Canada, isn't there? The Rebel.
Yeah. Yes.
They're Zionists. Yeah. You know, they're all over America, of course, and they have tentacles in every, you know, Geert Wilders is another one, and they've got their own variants in France as well. So I would say that I mean, you can always tell when it's them, because there's a very, very strong emphasis on counter jihad. Like the big focus is always on Islam with those people.
See, this is why,
and of course they just love Israel. They'll just tell you that they love Israel as well. So.
See, this is why we have Cameron camped out over in Central Europe now. He's going to be the one to bring all of these
bring them all together.
This is why the backlash exists, is to create our own version of this that isn't controlled by Zionists. So